whatever it is, like we just fill our lives up and buffer. And we never take the time to stop and figure out, why am I having this result in my life? Why do
Mhm.
I feel this way? Why am I suffering so much? Even though my life is good around me, I'm suffering. So that was the point for me where I was like, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I got to figure this out because I love my husband. I love our kids. I don't want it all to end. And I love my work. I love creating. I love business. I love entrepreneurship, but I don't love it at the cost of my family.
Right.
And I also don't want to believe that it has to be one or the other, because that
Mhm.
was really painful for me. Like, I think what happens is a lot of women come to this point and they say, you know what, I got to take my foot off the gas. Like, I got to pull back. I got to readjust my dreams. You know what, that's not important. My family comes first. So I'm just going to stop. I see
Yeah.
this all the time. And I just get like, no. You
Yeah.
can have it all. You just got to figure out, what's the scarcity inside? What's the lie you've been telling yourself? And how can you create better boundaries in your life?
My guest, Brooke Hemingway, is a former nurse and fitness professional with no network marketing experience that turned a powerhouse 7-figure top leader. She is the only person in her company to hit the top rank 3 times. She describes herself as a definite overachiever and a believer, a visionary, and a boundary pusher. She states, if someone tells me I can't do something, I will always find a way. Brooke believes there is so much more we are all capable of if we just are willing to dig deeper, accept and embrace our dreams, and go after them without allowing ourselves to play small and settle for excuses. As a mom of 6 children, she has built her business while having babies, nursing babies, homeschooling, and everything in between, learning how to figure it out in the messy middle. She lives in the ultimate belief that you could have it all without losing it all. Okay, Brooke Hemingway, I am so honored to have you on Passion, Love, Pursuit podcast. As we were mentioning and talking about, I was introduced to you by Amberly Lago, which is one of my favorite human beings. And she spoke so highly of you. And I knew you were perfect to be on this podcast because I've heard some of your talks and you provide a lot of value. And I love your story. You are a mother of 6. You're a busy entrepreneur, millionaire. You have an amazing husband. And the question is, how do you do it all, right? But before we get into the whole topic, I would love to kind of hear your journey before all of that I just mentioned. Where are you coming from? If you could kind of give us a little tidbit of
Yeah.
that.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. I do love Amberly. I'm so grateful for women that are about collaboration and they make these introductions and you get to meet incredible people. So I'm really excited to get to know you and to have you as someone that I can look to and be inspired by, because you are very inspiring. And so thank you for having me today and letting me be a part of this. So where do I come from? Like, who is Brooke? Honestly, I'm a small town girl. I grew up in small town USA in the Midwest. And I do come from a pretty big family. There's 6 kids in my family that I came from. I never thought I would have 6 kids. That wasn't part of my dream. So it's kind of funny. Never say never, because whatever you say never to, you will have in your life. That's the first lesson I will teach you today. But I was a small town girl. I grew up in a town of about 3,000 people amongst farm fields in Wisconsin and also in Ohio. And I was somebody that always kind of had big dreams and aspirations. When I look back now, I see that in myself, is that I love my roots and I love where I grew up, but I always had such bigger dreams and aspirations than to, stay there. And so as soon as I graduated from high school, I was like, I am out of here. And I got on a plane and I went to Hawaii, about as far away from Wisconsin as you could possibly go. Met the man of my dreams, got married way too young, worked out though. I've been married for 23 years. And I tell people all the time, we grew up together. We just like learned about life. We traveled, we adventured, we went through education. We went to counseling. Like we did all of these things to learn how to live together and love each other and build the life that we have now. We didn't have any kids for 8 years. We literally were just learning how to like and love each other and how to build a life together before we introduced kids into our life. And then once we had kids, I guess we just opened the floodgates. And we had 6 kids in, gosh, what was it? 12 years, 6 kids in 12 years.
Wow.
And it has been a whirlwind, you guys. I guess that was part of my ambition, huh? I had ambition from the time I was young. I didn't know that that would have to do with kids. But I was really traditional, honestly. I went to school, I got my degree in kinesiology. I worked in the health and fitness field for over 20 years, coaching people, training people, teaching classes. I was all about empowering people to physically take care of their bodies. I've also been a huge advocate of mental health. Since I can, as long as I can remember. And so I did that. And then I went back to school. I got my nursing degree because I was kind of a little bit bored with that. And I was like, well, let me learn something else. Let me dig deeper into the human body and physiology. And I'm going to be an ICU nurse. And I did that for about 10 years. And I realized that I did not have the passion for that. I have so much respect for the medical profession and respect for people that are nurses and doctors. And I'm married to a doctor, but it just wasn't my passion and it was sucking the life out of me. And so about 6 years ago, I found entrepreneurship. And my life has come full circle in that I started out in health and wellness. I worked in sickness care, which was the medical side of things. And now I'm back into health and wellness, but really more with a holistic feel in that I believe that it's mind, body, spirit, relationships, finances, and it's finding alignment in your life that gives you the greatest health and joy and satisfaction out of life. And my passion is really just to teach women that they can have it all without losing it all. And that's been a journey for me to figure out what that looks like for me. It's different for everybody. And I have done this while having 6 kids and having a great marriage and physically and emotionally taking care of my body. So, I come from a small town, but big dreams, big ambition, lots of goals to change the world and change the way that women think about things and what's possible for them. And that's just a little snippet of who I am.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, so much wrapped into one, right? Well, so let's kind of unpack all you shared. So I know you started with a network marketing company. I would love if you could kind of share how that even unfolded. How were you even drawn to that? And why did you choose this company? And then also, how did that then unfold from there?
Yeah, well, I believe that some people in life are open and a lot of people are closed. And I was honestly very closed. I was a very skeptical person. I was not open to a lot of things earlier in my life, but I believe that when we go through struggles and challenges, we are kind of humbled a little bit, right? Like we have a little bit of humble pie there. And truly, I had a good life. And I think a lot of people have a good life. It's fine. Everything is great. Their job is okay. Yeah. Their marriage is okay. Or maybe you're in a relationship where you stay home, which was kind of my dynamic at that point. I had 5 kids at the time, and I was mostly a stay-at-home mom at that point. I had hung up my stethoscope and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to try being a mom, which is kind of laughable because I like to stay busy. Like I always like to have something. And yes, kids keep you busy, and I love my children, like love them. But there's a side of you, I think, as a woman for a lot of people that craves like that creativity and growing something and having something of your own. And so I tried that for a few months, but I also was somebody that struggled a lot with anxiety and depression. And it's been something that has been a struggle for me since probably I was about 16 years old. I just never really recognized it, but I thought, what is wrong with me? Like something inside of me is broken. And I never really had the tools to work through those things. I just kind of slogged through, and I was always exercising. Exercise was my medicine. And, I was doing the things that I could do to help me, but I did struggle a lot with that. And then adding children onto that and the stress of life, it just got to be something that was for me a real problem. And so I was looking for something natural. I just wanted something natural to help me. And I found something natural that could help me, something that could address root issues and root imbalances. And I'm the first person to say there's no magic pill, there's no quick fix. I am totally all about take care of your physical body, supplement, move, do meditation, like do all those things that can help you. It's like a multifaceted approach. But I found a product that helped me. And I was not looking for a business. So I think it's really important for people that are really skeptical. There's a lot of people that are negative about network marketing. There's a lot of people that make fun of it. There's a lot of people that just have had really bad experiences. I get you, sis. Like, I get it. There's a lot of stuff out there that is not good. There's a lot of tactics and practices that are not good. But just like anything, you can have a good doctor, a bad doctor, a good lawyer, a bad lawyer, a great network marketer, a sleazy network marketer. Like, there are all kinds of things out there. And so I learned through my experience that you can't put everything into one basket. Like, you can't put everyone and everything in one field into one basket, that it's bad or it's good. And so I happened to find something that was really good and something that really aligned with me, that was not a quick fix magic pill kind of a thing. And scientifically, it made sense to me because I had that background. And so I found it, I loved it. I saw that it would be an opportunity to help a lot more people. Something about me is I really care about impact. I want to help a lot of people. I'm a nurturer. I love relationships. And for me, it just made sense to go ahead and do this because I was like, I have something that can help a lot of people. But I think if we're honest, there are two things that people worry about the most in life. And one of them is their health, and one of them is money. Right? Like, I mean, if you ask people, like, what are two of your biggest stressors? Like, okay, it's probably going to be health and money. And so as I started to grow this business, I saw that it could be a really incredible avenue to empower other women to take back their health emotionally and physically, and to take back their power and their finances. And I'm super passionate. I mean, I love men, love them, love my husband, but I'm really passionate about helping women make a lot of money and be able to make choices and to be able to leave their impact. And so I found this is like an incredible platform of influence to be able to help not only myself make a lot of money, but to help all of these other incredible women that I was getting connected to. Whether it was that they were in an abusive relationship, or they were living paycheck to paycheck, or they didn't have confidence. They'd never had confidence in their life, and they were becoming total bosses and entrepreneurs. And I was like, man, this gets a bad name. But if people could get an inside look at the way people's lives are changing, both in their self-worth and their confidence, their bank account, their health, like, people would be super impressed. So I was really drawn to that aspect because ever since I can remember, when I started in the fitness field, I was all about empowering women. Take care of your body, move your body, exercise. This is just an extension of what I cared about, which was empowering people. Take back your health, take back your life, take back your money, take back your power, take back your decision making. That is what this type of business did for me, and what I have gone on to create for, hundreds and thousands of women that have done this with me. So that's how I found it, honestly, accidentally.
Amazing. And I don't want to spend too much time on talking about the network marketing company you're with. Yeah. People could research you. Right. I will actually even include it in the show notes because you have so much value that I want to touch on. So I'm not a mom myself, but I know, let's say mothers are listening today. And for those moms out there that are a stay-at-home mom, but they feel this call, like they want to do something that is purposeful besides being a mother. They feel just this call to, like you said, tap into their own creativity and create something because they see maybe their husband doing something wonderful and they feel that void. So obviously, I think you probably experienced this at one time before you started this company or start the business that you did. For those mothers that are afraid to chase their own dreams because they feel like, oh, I will be failing as a mother, or I won't, I'll have to spend less time with my kids, less time with my husband, let's say for the moms wanting to start a network marketing business, whatever it may be, that takes time. But what would you say to that mother that is possibly listening that wants to start chasing a new dream?
Well, really, it's the same for any business, right? Whether you want to write a book, you want to become a coach, you want to have a network marketing business, you want to start some other kind of direct to consumer product, or you have this idea, there is this conflict when you have all these humans you're responsible for, whether it's one or three or six or whatever it is. It's not a competition. So a lot of people will be like, well, I only have two kids. And I'm like, girl, you have two kids. Like, two kids is a lot of kids. Like, it's extra human beings that you feel responsible for. And there is this tug at your heart when you have this passion and this dream. But I truly believe that the things you are passionate about are not random. They are sent into your mind and into your heart for a reason, for you to fulfill and create them. And so you come to this point where you're like, I am going to listen to that call inside of me, or I'm going to continue to play small and use my kids as an excuse. And that might be a hard thing for some moms to hear. And it's really a point that I had to come up against, is like, am I going to continue to use my kids as an excuse, as a buffer, as a reason to stay small and play small? Or am I going to use my kids as fuel to the fire? Because so many of us as moms, or even if there's some dads listening, we always tell our kids, you can be anything you want to be. Mm-hmm. You can do anything. Like, oh, you want to do that when you grow up? You can do that. And then here we are with all these dreams and passions and ideas, and we never go after it.
Yeah.
And I believe the most powerful thing we can do as a parent is be an example. And so when I realized that, I was like, it is so incredibly important that I go after my dreams, that I have goals, and that I let my kids see me fail. I let them see me struggle. I let them see me jump up and down and be excited and cry and hit goals and miss goals, and like create products, create coaching, create events, create all these things that I've gone on to create. Like, it's really important for them to see that, because I will tell you, as a parent, if you're listening right now, what I have seen happen now is my kids literally say, when I grow up, I'm going to do this and this and this and that. And they say it with so much conviction and so much confidence that I'm like, I believe you. You are going to go and do that, because they've seen me do things that I was scared to do, and things that I had never done before. But they see mom just going out there and doing it. Is it easy? No. Like, it can definitely tug at your heart. And there's so much that I could unpack with this. But the first thing that I want to say is just that if it's in your heart, and if you truly want to raise empowered children, and you want to raise children that go after their dreams and leave an impact in this world, you need to leave your impact. And you need to do the things that you feel called to do. And that's number one. Number two is, when I get an idea, and when I have an inspiration or a download from my higher power, or whatever that is for you, when I get an idea, guess what? The first thought in my head is similar to what it is to you, which is, I couldn't do that. Or, well, what about my kids? Or, I mean, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Like, we all have that little devil on our shoulder that's like, you're crazy. You can't do that. You'll be a bad mom, like all of those things. But then immediately on the other shoulder is that other voice in my head, which is, well, how could you do that? Like, what is a way you could make that happen? There's always an alternative thought available to you, and you can use your kids to stop you. You can use your time to stop you, or you can say, what's an alternative thought? And an alternative thought is, how can I create time? How can I make that happen? How can I prioritize my kids and prioritize my dream? Because it's not an either or, it's an and. Like, how can I do that? And once you start asking your brain the right questions, you'll start coming up with answers like, oh, okay, so I can get up an hour early. I can spend an hour working on my dream. Okay, when they go to school, I go to the gym. Then after I go to the gym, I spend 2 hours cranking away at my dream. I pick them up from school. We do their homework. Then there's always this like dead space before dinner when you're a mom where your kids don't want you to be around. They want to like play games. They want to do whatever. They don't want mom in their face. And it's like that dead space that's like an hour and you just dig in that hour. And so when you start asking yourself, how can I do this? You start seeing all these pockets in your day where you're either watching HGTV, binge watching Netflix, going to Target for the third time this week, like all the different things, you just realize I actually have more time in my day than I think I have. I just need to prioritize my dream and ask myself, how can I make it happen? So I think those are a couple of things that come to mind.
Amazing, because I think so many people are afraid of the how, but I think you had so much drive in the vision and what you saw the ability to create and how you could impact other women or other people in their health. So that was pulling you towards taking the action that you needed to, because I think the hardest thing is creating the time and the space to do such a thing, especially with at the time when you started 5 kids. And I know because I've heard your story, your husband worked about 80 hours a week, which is insane. And so I'm just curious, when you were building this, I know you didn't have social media following, which is, I think today, a big piece in network marketing. So I'm curious, how did you just create the momentum and build it from there with all these, if you want to say kind of roadblocks, and how did you knock those roadblocks down and achieve what you have today, which is remarkable?
Well, this is exciting to talk about because I'm going to get straight to the point. I say this a lot of times to people, which is, would you rather have $1 million or 1 million followers? So I know a lot of people that just focus on their follower count or they just focus on their social media presence. And I know a lot of people that have a lot more followers than me, but they make way less money than me. And what I have done is I have become a student of how to grow my network, of how to grow my social media. And it hasn't been exponential growth, like super crazy, 10,000 new people a month or anything like that. But I decided to become a student of what it would take. I didn't have Instagram when I started. I had 150 Facebook friends when I started my business. I am an introvert. I'm more of an extroverted introvert now, but I refuel by being by myself, right? I exert a lot of energy and I pour into people. And then when I'm done, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to breathe, right? And so I started from this small beginning, but what I really focused on and what you'll hear from anybody that really gets it with sales and selling anything, whether it's your coaching or your product or your event, is that it's about connection and it's about real relationships and it's about being an authentic person. I can make a lot from a little, which means you can start with a small following, but you can just love on that following. You can nurture those relationships. And through the power of association and networks, you get introduced to more people and more people and more people. So care more about your character, care more about your authenticity, and care more about genuine connection, because those connections could be the gateway to 1 million or 10 million or $20 million in a year. And less about what the algorithm says, like how many followers you have, because the followers don't necessarily translate into dollars.
Right.
Now they can if you're growing your following and you're focusing on meaningful connection and authenticity. And so for me, it really was about seeing potential in other people, pouring into people, developing strong relationships, and then putting myself out there to learn, well, how do I find new friends? How do I connect with new people on social media? And that's where the strategy part comes in. And I resisted for a long time. I don't know about you or any of you guys that are listening that kind of resist on social media because you're like, oh my gosh, I could never be like her. I mean, it seems impossible to have 10,000 followers, or like, I'm just going to have to be on Instagram for 6 hours a day. And I don't have 6 hours a day. Like there's so many different thoughts that we have going on in our head about social media. And that's how I felt initially. Honestly, I was like, I don't really like social media. I feel like there's so much fakeness. There's not a lot of reality and everybody looks perfect. And my life doesn't look that way. And so I had all those thoughts that so many people listening might have, which is a lot of comparison, a lot of assuming I can't do things, and a lot of assuming that what people want to see is perfection. And that's not what people want to see.
Yeah.
People are craving authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to hear the real story. They want to feel connected to you. And so when I laid down those excuses, I decided I'm going to learn how to use social media. I'm going to learn how to use hashtags. I'm going to learn how to make reels. I'm going to learn how to do this for the purpose of impact, not popularity.
Yeah.
Right? I want to make an impact and I want to make income. So I want to make meaningful content that can connect with people, not just so I can be popular. Because if I'm going to spend my time on anything, especially as a mom, with all these little humans, like it has to be worth it. Like I want to see this convert to income for my family, income for impact. Like I want it to convert to something, not just a number of views, just to get more people looking at me. And so I would just encourage you to eat the elephant one bite at a time. What is one thing that you need to do to grow your influence, to grow your network? Do you need to just start showing up regularly on social media and just commit to consistency? Once you have that down, okay, what do I need to learn? Do I need to learn how to go live? Do I need to do it scared and just like put myself out there and start doing lives and have sweaty pits and like be shaking? But like, that's the next thing I need to tackle. Okay, I've tackled that. Now there's a real thing. Like I need to tackle the reels. But while you're learning all these things, don't lose who you are. Don't lose connection to your core audience and engage with them regularly in a meaningful way. So I just built it by being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency is king. It's like there is no magic secret except that the people are making it are after it every single day. You will see their face on social media, either in their stories or in their feed every single day. And consistency beats the shiny new thing every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
And actually, let me touch on that. Because I know when you were starting off your business, since you're creating quite the momentum, you were working really hard and you were at it and you're ready to like, do the best you can, right? So you're just working hard. I know there was a pivotal point in your life that you were getting to the point of burning out. So I would love if you could talk to that, because I think that's where I really want to touch on alignment, because I like how you talk about this, because I think being aligned in life is key. It's not about balancing all these things. And I know you also say there's a difference between balance and alignment. So if you could touch on the pivotal moment that brought you to this idea of having alignment in your life, not necessarily balance.
Yeah. So, to preface that before I dive into that, I want to be super clear because somebody might be listening and they might be in a stage in their business or with what they're working on where they are working overtime. They are working really hard and maybe they have kids too. Yeah. Or maybe they don't, but maybe they have a significant other. Or, I have dog moms in my organization and that I work with. Like we all have things that are important in our life. And there are times and seasons in our business that require great sacrifice, that it does require a lot of time and it seems out of balance. So when I tell my story, I share it with you guys with zero shame. Like I literally wouldn't take back anything I did. I wouldn't take back working 12, 14 hours a day while birthing babies, nursing babies, making dinner, like all the things, you guys. It was a freaking hot mess. Like I literally have flashbacks to me like holding a baby, nursing a baby, stirring dinner on a call with the speakerphone on, like coaching somebody. Like this is my life. This is what it really looked like. And I will never be the girl that'll be like, I don't know. I mean, it just happened. Like, I'm just really good with managing my time. And everything just kind of fell into, no, it was a mess. It was a mess, and it was a beautiful mess. Like, it was so crazy and insane. And to go from like making no money to making six figures in 5 months, and then seven figures by, a year, like, that doesn't just happen.
Wow.
That happens because you are pouring your heart and your soul and your time while you're doing all the other things and trying to juggle, like keeping my marriage alive, keeping my kids alive, helping them with their school, like working out. I was working out and all these things.
Wow.
And I did that, and I don't have any shame. But there comes a point when you do have that pivotal point, that moment where when something you've been doing is not working anymore. And it's like, okay, this is a wake up call that I need to shift some things and I need to change some things. You will, at times as an entrepreneur, have to work much harder than other people will think is good for you,
Right.
and much harder than, maybe even someone really close to you. Like, you're working too hard, you're spending too much time on this, it doesn't seem like it's paying off. I remember my husband saying that to me. It seems like you're spending an awful lot of time on this for the amount of money you're making. And I just remember saying to him, it's coming, honey. It's coming. I can feel it. I know it. I have vision. It's coming. And so I stuck with it. But 3 years in, full throttle, like earning all the things, going on the private island trips, like making all this money, getting $14,000 shopping sprees, starting a coaching business, like all this kind of stuff. 3 years in, plus I had a sixth baby in there. And my husband and I had a moment on his birthday 3 years ago where it just exploded. Like, it literally, my life just kind of stopped because I had been going, going, going. And really, what happened, Erica, is that I had self worth issues, and I had scarcity issues, and I had a fear that everything good in my life comes to an end. That was literally my subconscious thought about everything in my life. I'm a child of divorce. A lot of good things in my life, that I wanted to do, they never happened or they came to an end. And I love my parents. Like, I'm not saying, oh, poor me, I'm a child of divorce, but there are things that happen that make you feel like all the good things in your life come to an end. And success is temporary, and maybe marriage is temporary, and love is temporary, and all these things are temporary. And so that was my underlying thought. And I was trying to overcompensate. What I found is that by year 3, the scarcity was taking over, and I was trying to overcompensate by digging in and working even more. And I was just buffering those feelings, and I was buffering some of this depression that I was experiencing by just working more and being more and more disconnected from my husband and more disconnected from my family. And on his birthday, he literally said, you can have your effing business. I'll take the kids and leave. And I was like, But here's the thing. I felt nothing. I literally was holding my baby that was maybe 10 months old at the time, and I felt nothing. And it wasn't that he said that really shook me, but the thing that shook me is that I felt nothing. I was like so numbed and so buffered and so I had just been so wrapped up in trying to cover up all these feelings and thoughts I had about myself that I hadn't worked through. I hadn't processed these things. And when he left, he took the kids to the beach that day on his birthday. I stayed home with the baby. And when he came home, we had a huge discussion, and we started to make some changes. And I started to realize, okay, I need some help. I need some coaching. I need to dig inside, and I need to figure out why I don't feel like I'm enough, why I don't feel like I can maintain the good things in my life. And so I just have to overcompensate by overworking, why I feel like I have to do everything and I can't ask for help. Why I'm doing this all on my own and I'm just drowning. And so I dug into that. I dug into, having a coach, doing a lot of mindset work, reading even more books, listening to more podcasts, like just really picking apart and finding out what was going on inside of me. And a lot of people skip that. They skip that. They go through their entire life. We go through our entire lives buffering. Oh, I'll just get a new boyfriend or a new spouse or a new job, or I'll just work harder, or whatever it is. Like, we just fill our lives up and buffer, 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 buffer. And we never take the time to stop and figure out, why am I having this result in my life? Why do I feel this way? Why am I suffering so much? Even though my life is good around me, I'm suffering. So that was the point for me where I was like, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I got to figure this out because I love my husband. I love our kids. I don't want it all to end. And I love my work. I love creating. I love business. I love entrepreneurship, but I don't love it at the cost of my family.
Right.
And I also don't want to believe that it has to be one or the other, because that was really painful for me. Like, I think what happens is a lot of women come to this point and they say, you know what, I got to take my foot off the gas. Like, I got to pull back. I got to readjust my dreams. You know what, that's not important. My family comes first. So I'm just going to stop. I see this all the time. And I just get like, no, 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 no. You can have it all. You just got to figure out what's the scarcity inside. What's the lie you've been telling yourself? And how can you create better boundaries in your life? So that was the turning point for me, in making changes in my life, because I desperately could see there were things I was supposed to create, right? Going back to that passion, that dream, I could desperately see that there were things that I had not yet created and things that I was supposed to do. But in my brain, I was like, but how? Because like my family, things are not going well, but how? And so my choices were give up on my family, give up on my business, or find a way. And I went searching to find a way.
Remarkable. Okay, so let's talk about this alignment, because I think this is so important, because I think so many people have either been there, heading there, or will head there at some point, especially the entrepreneur path. I very much understand it. I'm working pretty much 7 days a week right now. So I'm kind of running myself in that direction. So we need to know how to create this alignment, because I do believe that it will affect everything around us. But I do also believe, as you stated, sometimes there are seasons in your life where you have to do the work to achieve what you want. But how do we create the alignment? And that's number one question. And then also, if you could just explain why alignment isn't the same as balance.
Yeah. So balance is this mythical, it's this mythical concept that's out there. And it is like you're assuming that all things can hold the same place, the same space, the same energy at all times. That's impossible. It's literally impossible for me to give everything, every project, everything that I touch the exact same energy, the exact same resources, the exact same amount of time at all times. And so if you are seeking that elusive balance, you are always going to feel like you're failing, because it's literally humanly impossible. And that feeling of failure, well, what do those feelings do? Those feelings of failure create inaction. So you don't take action. And then your result is that you don't reach your goal. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that you can't have what you really want. And so we have to release this idea of balance, and we have to seek alignment. And alignment is more of like a flow state. And when I think of alignment, I think of, a circle. Or Dave Ramsey even talks about this when he talks about goals and like a wheel. So when I have an alignment guide that's linked to my At Align for Success Instagram page. And in that alignment guide, there's a picture of a person, and it's like spiritual, financial, emotional, physical relationships. And it's like this circle, this wheel. And I find that if I take a regular check of where I am, like once a month or once a quarter, how am I doing in these areas of my life? Is there a relationship that I need to nurture a little bit more? For example, when this happened in my marriage, we realized we need to go on a date once a week. We need to connect. We need to make that a priority to date each other once a week. We've been married 23 years now, and we are more passionately in love now than we were when we got married 3 years ago. Could I say that? I mean, we loved each other, but we kind of were like this, But I looked at that relationship part of that wheel, and I was like, this is really suffering. I can't do a complete overhaul, but what is one thing I can do to create better alignment? Because what happens is if we're focusing everything into our business, into our career, or maybe we have an obsession with making our body look perfect and everything's going into physical and, whatever it is, what happens on another part of the wheel is it goes flat
Yeah.
and you have a flat tire. And if you drive a car with a flat tire for very long, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to have a collision. You're going to crash. It's going to be really dangerous. You can't keep driving that car. Like it's literally going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And so it's not about having each area of that circle perfectly balanced, but it's that regular awareness of looking at that circle and being like, you know what, this is one thing I need to do to nurture my relationship with my children this month. This is what I'm going to focus on. And physically, okay, physically, when I look at that, I am not giving myself the sleep that I need to be able to be mentally clear, to be able to have a positive energy, to keep myself from being sick. So we just go through these areas of the circle and we find, where am I grossly out of alignment? Because it's a mistake to think that you can let everything else go in your life and you can financially and in your career be successful. You can do that temporarily. Okay. And this is where we get tricked, is you can do that temporarily. You can get away with it. I did it for 3 years, right? You can get away with it, but eventually you have to pay the price.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to pay the price. And so you're cruising, you're going along, you're creating, you're making the money, you're making the changes, and everything else is like starving in your life, right? And eventually you are going to pay the price if you don't start paying attention and create some awareness. And it's not awareness in the way, I want to be really careful, Erica, here is when I talk about being aware of what's going on in these aspects of your life, this alignment wheel, I'm not talking about self-bashing. I'm not talking about looking at this and I should do this, I should do that, I should do this, I suck at this, I'm screwing this up. None of that is productive. Stop doing the should thing.
Yeah.
And start looking at it and being, what's one thing I could do? And pat yourself on the back for making a small change, because that positive reinforcement of, sweet, I've been dating my husband once a week. I am a boss. I am so proud of myself, and just like celebrating those little wins in changing those different areas, because you're not going to have the kind of success and the kind of progress in your life if you're not paying attention to alignment. And think of it this way. If you have a relationship that's really struggling right now, how does that affect your energy? How does that affect your mental health? How does that affect your desire and clarity, when you sit down and get to work? Like sometimes there's some things that we have to do. We have to slow down to speed up. Stephen Covey says that. Like we've got to sharpen the saw. Slow down to speed up. And it doesn't have to be that you totally put the brakes on your business, but it might be like, I need to have a 1-hour conversation with this person. I need us to have some reconciliation or clear the air or just clear the energy so that I can have greater alignment in my relationships. And that's going to clear out my mind. It's going to increase my energy. And that's going to increase my productivity. I'm going to get a better result in my business. It's like your whole body is connected to, like, what's going on in your foot is connected to what's going on in your neck. Yeah. It's the same thing with alignment. And please don't take this as perfection and balance. This is just like me being honest with myself 100%. And raising that awareness.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that because I recently, because I've been killing it, working really, really hard and enjoying it. But yet there is a point where you're like, okay, I'm going to burn out. Like I need a break. And I know for myself, I like to do adventures. I love to be outdoors in nature. It's a part of my soul. Like that's the way I connect deeply to my soul, is by doing that. Yeah. So recently I went on it was a 4-day vacation out into nature, a national park. And it was a requirement for me to, like you said, slow down so I could speed up. I knew if I didn't take that little break, and 4 days isn't a whole lot. Like it's like you take a breath, then okay. And then now let's start going again, but I knew that if I didn't take this little break, for me to prolong anymore, I was going to burn out. So I think when you say this awareness is knowing yourself enough, being able to, I like to say, create the space so you're able to hear your own thoughts. And so, for example, what I do sometimes is I will put my phone, I'll keep my phone at home and I'll go for a walk. Just be out in nature and just let things flow, whatever comes to me. Obviously, I meditate as well. But there's ways that we could create that space so that we're able to tap into what is my body, what does my soul need right now, what needs to be nurtured, what do I need to, slow down at so I could speed up then after, like when you're refueled. And so I did that, luckily, and it does help wonders when you allow yourself that time to slow down. That doesn't mean you're quitting, and you don't have to be so hard on yourself like that you just can't stop, So I just think that's important. What do you tell people to create the space and awareness to know when we're out of alignment?
Well, I love the question, is it a season or is it a problem? So I ask myself that, is this just a busy season? Because there are times when you have deadlines or projects you're working on, and it is a busy season and there's no way around the work. And if I can allow myself to just lean into it and full throttle without the guilt, because I'm like, this is a season. I'm going to birth this baby, this project, whatever. This is a season. But then constantly checking in, is this a season or is this a problem? Okay, this is a problem. I can see myself becoming addicted to my work. I can see myself becoming addicted to my phone. I can see myself becoming addicted to what people think or whatever that is. Then it's time for me to disconnect. And to your point, 4 days can be amazing, but so can 4 hours. So can giving yourself a Sunday or half of a day, or giving yourself the daily opportunity to take a walk or to meditate. I've found that the more I work on this, the faster I can snap back, because I can take an hour and feel rejuvenated. I can take 4 hours, 4 days. I don't need 4 months off, right? I can recharge my battery because I've trained myself to know, okay, we're getting into problem zone. I need to step back. I need to take a little break, take care of my spirit, take care of my body, and asking yourself, what you need most. What do you need most? And what you needed to be out in nature. You needed to be disconnected. Sometimes that's what I need to. I really ground myself with the earth. But sometimes what I need is just a killer fun day, like playing with my kids, like going to the trampoline park, going to a movie, eating way too much movie popcorn, asking yourself, what do you need? But here is the thing. You have to lean into trust. Because the reason why you don't want to stop is you're so afraid that if you stop for an hour or 4 hours or 4 days, or God forbid you take a week off and you go to Costa Rica, which is what I did at the end of June, God forbid you take a week off, you have so much fear that you're not going to be able to pick up or make that goal or make that success, because you're just so afraid if you take your foot off the gas, even for a second. And that scarcity and that fear energy is hurting you more than taking the day off. It is. And you have to lean into trusting yourself. And when I was able to let go of that scarcity and be like, you know what? I've created $100,000 month. I can do that again, because I've done it once. I can do it again. I'm going to allow myself to take the weekend off. I'm going to allow myself to go away this weekend with my husband, or to fully enjoy my birthday like I did last week. I was like, I'm going hiking. We're going to the movies. We're going to go to our favorite place to eat. I'm just going to enjoy myself to do that. I'm going to let myself enjoy that, because I trust that when I come back to it, I'm going to come with a new energy. I'm going to come with a new vitality, and nothing that I've created is going away overnight or over the week. It's trust. Trust yourself, trust the process, trust the wisdom of giving yourself some white space where you can just disconnect. And that's where the creativity lies anyway.
So important. And actually, that was exactly what I did on this vacation. I literally, I could have used the hours on our drive to study something I needed to and spend the time, utilizing the extra free time I had, if you want to say. I literally just was being where I was at, where my 2 feet were. I was just being. And it was so freeing, to be honest. And I gave myself the permission to do that. Yes, I came back with a load of things I need to do, but at least I created that container. And like you said, giving myself permission to just be in that space and not, putting pressure on myself that, oh, I'm going to fail if I don't do all these things. At least I gave myself that and that grace to just have the peace in mind, to enjoy the trip. So I think it's so critical for our own well-being and also for our relationships, of course.
And when you come back fully energized. Mm-hmm. And a fully energized battery, like a fully energized you, can knock off that list of things you have to do so quickly. Like when I come back to it and I'm energized, it is amazing how much I can get done in a day, as opposed to I'm just going to sit here and work harder and slog through it, and I'm not going to take a break. I don't have the same energy, and it take me like 3, 4, 5 times longer to do the same thing, as opposed to when I come back and I'm energized and I'm excited.
Absolutely. So true. And then I know so creating alignment, which you tap on, I guess it's called also the wheel of life, where all those areas, your relationships, your health, your business, and yada, yada, and all those, the wheel of life. So one of those being your health, and obviously fitness is important to you. I know you speak a lot about movement is kind of your fuel to your soul. Yeah. And you have something called, is it 6x6 or six of 6?
6 for 6. Yeah. 6 for 6.
And so what is this? And how do you make time to work out, being a mother of 6 and a successful business and a husband, and all these things? Because I think that's where a lot of people start creating the excuses that, oh, I don't have time to work out. I'm going to call bullshit. So how do you make the time for, right? So how do you make the time for that?
And listen, I have a lot of compassion, right? Like a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that's easy. You stay home. Well, I run 4 businesses. So I might be working from home, but let's be clear about this. I'm working full time. I don't have to commute anywhere. Like literally, I do this all from home. But I have been in fitness for over 20 years. Doesn't mean I have been perfect at taking care of myself. So I want to preface it with that. But how many people listening, I wish I could see your hands go up. How many of you guys are perfectionists? And how many of you guys are all or nothing? Right? Well, either I'm going to do just like the most amazing, incredible weight loss or health or fitness program, or nothing. And what I found in my, over 20 years of experience is that people tend to be all or nothing. People tend to be perfectionists, and people tend to always say negative things about their body. Like for years and years, I was like, oh my gosh, I hate my thighs. They're like, I was a gymnast growing up, right? So I got me some muscles, right? I can't fit into the super skinny, like tight, like skinny jeans. And so I would say negative things to my body. And a couple years ago, I started to fall out of my habits of working out on the daily, because I had all these businesses going and I had all these babies. And like, there's just, like you said, there's like so many excuses. And I literally looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, if you don't have 20 minutes for yourself, something is very wrong. Yeah. 20 minutes. And I used to be like, well, if I can't work out really hard for an hour and totally kill myself and just totally crush it, it's not worth it. Or if I'm not going to work out and get a specific physical result and I'm not going to look this way, it's not worth it. And so this was about 2 years ago. I just had this shift in my mind that was like, you moving your body is about self-care. Yeah. You moving your body is about loving your body, not punishing your body, not hating your body, not trying to make it look a certain way, not about perfectionism. You moving your body is you increasing your energy, is you nourishing your body. And it doesn't have to be an hour. Like just commit to 20 minutes, 6 days a week. Anything. So it could be taking a walk. It could be yoga. It could be running. It could be going to Orange Theory, and it's more than 20 minutes, because I was attaching perfectionism to exercise. And I used to think a walk is not exercise. Yoga is not exercise. Like, unless it was absolutely sweat
So
my brains out and kill myself. It was not exercise. And I was finding that my mood was suffering. I was starting to experience more anxiety and depression again because I wasn't moving. I was not as productive and focused in work. I didn't have as much patience with my kids. I didn't have the confidence with my body. And so I simply said, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, 20 minutes, come rain or shine, whether it's in my bedroom doing like body weight stuff or taking a walk or going to a class. And the funny thing is, you guys, like I'm fitter and healthier than when I taught 16 classes a week. Back in the day,
wow.
when I was full on in the fitness field, 16 classes a week, I look at pictures and I'm like, dang, I look good now.
It's
Like
amazing.
just focusing on that consistency, the compound effect, that is so powerful. And I love my body. I don't criticize my body. I let all of that go and I'm not doing it for just a physical look. I'm doing it because I understand when I work out, I'm more patient, I'm more productive, I have more positive energy. I get creative ideas when I move my body. I get the creative juices flowing. So 20 minutes often turns into 30 or 40 or 60 or a 2 hour hike. But I just tell myself, I trick myself. I'm like, 20 minutes, that's all you got to do. And sometimes it goes longer and sometimes it's not. And it's been such a blessing in my life, not only with my physical and emotional health, but also seriously, it is one of my number one tips for business builders. I'm
Mm,
like, if you want wealth and you want money, you better start paying attention to your health because health is wealth. And if you want wealth, you need to pay attention to your health. So move your body 6 days a week, non negotiable. Any of my coaching clients, non negotiable.
yeah.
You have to add that into your life.
100% agree. And I think I could really relate to you since fitness has been part of your life for over 20 years. Same thing. It's a part of me. It's already like, it's not, it's, I don't have to try too hard to do it. And I know some people listening right now, it's going to be hard at first, but like you said, it's
Yes.
just not attaching yourself to, oh, I need to be perfect at this, do all this time to actually get a workout. Like you said, 20 minutes. You don't have 20 minutes for yourself as self-care and to nurture your health. Health is everything. And we all know that until we lose it. Or sorry, we will, no matter what, if we don't take care of our health, there's one day, if we lose it, then we'll realize that's everything and we need it back. So we need to put in the effort to take care of it. What are some
And
of
it
your,
truly just becomes who you are. Like to
Mhm.
your, like it's become who you are. So it just becomes like a rule for your life. Like, well, this is just a
Absolutely.
part of who I am. And you might be somebody that just says, well, I just don't like to exercise or I don't like to sweat. I have a friend that said that to me for 5 years. She started doing 6 for 6 and now she's like, I can't live a day without it, without it.
Amazing.
It's a part of who I am. So then it does become where it's not a struggle. I swear to you, if you commit to consistency, it will become a part of who you are and just a part of your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Completely agree. And I love that. What are some of your other non negotiables to have alignment in your life, business, career?
Yeah. So, aside from exercise, I am a huge believer in family time, like family blocking. So, a lot of people will create business hours. When you're an entrepreneur, I mean, like, tell me how well that works, Erica.
Yeah, right. It's true.
Doesn't necessarily work very well. So I create family hours. Family hours meaning like in order for me to maintain those good relationships and feel like I'm showing up as a mom or showing up as a wife or whether it's for you at this season in your life showing up as a friend, I create family hours that are non-negotiable. And so those could be, for example, Friday nights, that's non negotiable with my family, date night, non negotiable with my spouse. In the mornings when I'm done working out, I have like an hour to an hour and a half before I really start my work day. I don't like to plan a lot of things before 10 because that's family hours. I want to be in the kitchen. I want to be helping with breakfast. I want to be hugging my kids. So one of the things that helps me with the relationship alignment is establishing family hours. You could just call that relationship hours if you're not in a family stage of your life, but setting that as a priority as opposed to work hours, because I don't believe that set strict work hours necessarily works very well for the entrepreneurial life. you can have boundaries, but you do have to be flexible when you're a creator. That's one of the things. One of the other things that is a non-negotiable to me is I feel like it's really, really important for me to stay connected to my higher power. So whatever that is for you, that could be meditation. It could be that you actually go to a church. It could be that you have a spiritual practice or a book that you read from that keeps you grounded. For me, it's super important because I always want to remember who I am, why I'm doing the work I'm doing, what the purpose of it is, and that I keep my head on straight and I don't lose my mind, right? Yeah. Because sometimes when you're getting successful, you're growing these businesses, you're doing all this stuff, sometimes you lose sight of what really matters and why you even started doing this and why your creator or the universe or God or whatever that is for you gave you this idea. And so every single week I tap into that, like every week. And every day there's a part of my day where I tap into that because I want to be centered. I want to be grounded. I don't ever want to lose sight of that or think that's not important because that is really important to me. So on a daily and a weekly basis, I do that. I also, as some of my non-negotiables, I invest heavily in personal development, coaching, putting myself in the room, stretching myself, challenging myself. I think I did a post like a couple of weeks ago where I said last year I spent $97,000 on coaching and personal development. Like
best
I am
investment,
a huge,
yeah.
It's an investment and it paid me back, many, many times over. So for me, that pocket in my life on a weekly and daily basis is very important. I do work on myself personally every single day, whether that's I've been challenged by a coach to do something that scares me, or I'm just listening to a personal development podcast or reading a book or something like that. That connection to always wanting to be better and improve myself is a non-negotiable 100%.
Yes, completely agree. And I'm curious, what was your most transformational personal development you did? Was there a certain seminar, certain course, certain podcast, something you would highly recommend anybody look more into that really changed your life?
So there's a lot of different things, but so many different things. I listen to a lot of different things. I think it's good to mix it up and to listen to a lot of different perspectives. And sometimes in personal development, like you'll have a season where you love one thing and then you're like, okay, I need something different. And so you start listening to somebody different. And so I am a big fan of that. Like have many different mentors and listen to many different perspectives. And I've had different coaches, right? But I think one of the things that really pushed me to launch some of the things that I do more is I have done a lot of Brendan Burchard things. Like I have been in his mastermind, to his influencer conference. I'm a high performance certified coach. Like I've learned a lot from that was really in alignment with me because he talks a lot about vibrancy and creating a life where you have amazing success, but you also have rich relationships and you have a lot of satisfaction in your life. And I was like, this is what it's all about. I talk about having it all without losing it all. So I've done a lot of that. And that really kind of lines up with me because I want to be mad, crazy, successful, and rich, but I want to also have an incredible, like healthy body, like thriving marriage, like kids that are happy and creative. Yeah, like I'm like, ooh, I want women to believe that because I believe so many women don't believe that. And bless it, like there's so many men out there that are doing these seminars and that are coaches and that are thought leaders. And I'm like, where are all the mothers and where are all the women? Because we need to see those examples. And so I listen to a lot of different people, but I have been blessed definitely by his teachings, and I would highly recommend that. I also really believe in thought coaching and just like digging into your thoughts mindset and how your thoughts are affecting your feelings and your actions and your results. I just think if you're starting, just start. Pick a podcast, pick a book, start listening to it. If it doesn't really resonate with you, it's okay. Put it down, pick up another one. In different seasons in our life, we need different voices. We need different people. So we need different coaches. We are not the same person from one season to the next. I continue to change and grow, and I need different things from different mentors So there's nothing wrong with you if something isn't resonating with you anymore. There's nothing wrong with them either. They still have incredible value to offer, but maybe it's time for you to seek some additional mentorship, coaching, training.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, different seasons, different content. I completely agree. And you are proof, mother of 6 with a healthy marriage. You said your marriage is better than ever. You look phenomenal. You're vibrant. I mean, you're glowing. Like you do have it all. So you are proof it is possible. Even if you have one child, 6 children, it's possible. So I think it's just so inspiring. You inspire me absolutely completely because I want to have it all and have the joy and fulfillment that comes with that. So thank you. So what are your best, or what is the best place to find you and people could learn about your courses that you offer and some more free information that you share? Where can people find you?
Well, always on social media, of course. You can find me on Instagram at Hemingway Half Dozen, which is easy to remember because I have half a dozen kids.
Amazing.
So at Hemingway Half Dozen, also on Facebook, of course, good old Facebook, Brooke Hemingway. My website is brooke-hemingway.com. You can find me there. And you can also find me at Align for Success. That is my Align brand. We have an annual conference that we will be launching pretty soon for January, which I'm super excited. Lots of energy. I enjoy a loud music with a good beat. We get up and dance. We have a good time. We have breakthroughs. So you're going to be laughing, dancing, crying, like leaving there feeling so empowered and ready to conquer 2022. So have your eye out for that. You can find me in those places. And it's been such a gift to talk with you today.
Oh, thank you. Of course, I'll include that all in the show notes. So amazing. So I always like to ask my guests this one question. I love that so many people give diverse answers. So if you were to write a book, and you were to put on the first page a piece of advice that you feel everybody needs to hear today, what would it be?
You have everything inside of you that you already need to make your dreams come true. And the most important opinion and voice in your life is inside of you.
Perfect.
So
absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I say. Everything you need is already within you. Everything you seek, the love you seek, the success you seek, everything you could find within you. You just have to believe in yourself and tap into that and create the space to reconnect to it at all times. So I love that advice. Thank you so much. So Brooke, this has been an absolute honor. I appreciate you taking your time. I know it's a Saturday, which I'm sure you don't normally record podcasts on Saturdays. So thank you for making the time. I deeply appreciate you. Are absolutely phenomenal and so much wisdom. And I know you're showing women out there that so much is possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved it.
Thank you.